Hello and welcome to part 15 of this Tableau Made Easy series, and this might just be the most exciting of them all, as here we are going to start creating our earthquake tracking dashboard. We're going to pull together the different elements that we've created into this dashboard, making sure it ticks off all of the client's requirements, and I know that if we do, it is most definitely going to help them track earthquakes over time and find and analyze patterns in the data. So starting from where we left off in part 14, the very first thing we need to do is head down to the very bottom of screen, and instead of hitting the new worksheet button like we've done many times before, we are going to hit this one to the right of it with the small grid and the plus symbol, and this is the new dashboard button. So let's do that now. Let's click that. And when we do, we see this screen here. Now, at first, this might seem a bit scary as it's a bit different from what we are used to in our worksheets, but it is all very intuitive, I promise. So let's talk about what we have here. Up the top, we have the ability to design a dashboard for a PC. So this is essentially what is meant by default. And then we also have the option to optimize it all for a phone, which is pretty amazing. We will just stick with the default for now, but it is good to know that it is possible to do both. Now, under that, we have this area called size, and this is where we can customize the size of our layout, or the size of our canvas, if you will. Let's click onto the drop down here, and then into the next drop down, which currently says range, and let's change that to be automatic. And this essentially means that Tableau will automatically adapt the overall dimensions of our dashboard based on screen size. So this is probably the one that you will use most often, but again, good to know that you can fix this to a certain size if required. Now, under there we have this area called Sheets, and we see some familiar names, and these are the names of our worksheets, and in a minute you'll see that we can just drag them onto our dashboard to start creating it. At the very bottom, we have this area called Objects, and this allows us a lot of flexibility around other types of objects that we might want to add, including things like vertical and horizontal layout containers to fix certain worksheets that we add in place, blank zones for spacing things apart, and then more advanced things like images, text, and even things like a widget that will enable a user to download the dashboard. Now, apart from adding a quick image near the end, we won't actually be diving into these for our dashboard here, but again, great to know what is possible. And finally, below all of that, we can see that we have tiled and floating. Now, tiled, which is on by default, means that when we add worksheets and objects to our dashboard, they will essentially snap into place. And this makes it really easy to create something quickly and effectively. Floating means that you, the user, are in full control of the placement and sizing of everything, which can be good as it makes it super customizable. But you do have to put in the hard work to make sure everything lines up as you want it. We'll just keep this all as tiled for now, as that will make it nice and easy for us to get up and running. Awesome, so that is a bit of an overview of what we see on this screen here. So let's now do a bit of housekeeping and let's give our dashboard a name. And to do this, just like we did with our worksheets, we can right click on dashboard 1 here and then rename. And let's call this DSI Earthquake Tracker. Awesome, so before we do anything else, I think we should make ourselves a bit of a plan. So let's have a think about our requirements. At the bare minimum, we need our map, we need our top 10 earthquakes table, we need our breakdown of earthquake frequency across our location broad variable, and then by location we need our 3 charts, so frequency, average magnitude, and maximum magnitude. On top of that, we need our date filter so that our client can scroll through everything day by day, and then I think we should also include a nice title at the top as well. So as a rough plan, we could do something like this. We could have our title up the top in the middle there. Below that, we could have our map. Our top 10 table is quite important, I think, so that can go at the top left. Our breakdown of the percentage frequency by location broad could go over to the right of the map. And then our triple chart, that would fit nicely down the bottom under all 3 of those. Our filter that will control everything could sit up the top right. And then to balance all of this out, let's add a nice image or logo up the top left. So let's do this. Back into Tableau, let's make a bit of a start. And the very first thing we can do is add our title. And this is really easy now that we've named our dashboard, as we can just go down to the bottom left of screen. And where it says show dashboard title, let's check that box. And when we do that, we can see our title up there at the top of our dashboard. Now, we planned to have this in the center. So if we right click on our title box there and then go to format title, Over on the left of screen, we have some options. Under Dashboard Title, if we go into Alignment, we can change that to Center, and that change has been made. Awesome, so let's close those settings with the little cross at the top, and let's keep moving. So we said that we wanted our map to be in the middle, so let's have a go at that. If we head over to the left of screen, we can drag our earthquake map worksheet onto our dashboard. And by default, because there is nothing else here, when we drop it, we can see that it takes up the whole space. When we add a worksheet, like we've just done there, over on the right, you can see that all of the filters and legends that we had on that worksheet are added as well. And this can be good if that is what you want, but when we add more worksheets, so let's go and grab our location triple worksheet. And if we drag that onto our dashboard canvas, making sure we do that below our map as per our plan, and you can see the tiled functionality at play with this, more or less snapping it into place. When we drop that onto our dashboard, over on the right, we can see that another filter has been added, this time from that second worksheet. So the date filter has been added. And this can all get pretty unruly with many worksheets. So let's keep it nice and tidy as we go. Now, we actually want to keep the date filter. That is a requirement from our client, but everything else we don't necessarily need. So one by one, we can go up and click once on each, and then we can just click the small X that appears to the top left, and that will remove it. So I'm going to remove location. Let's also remove the magnitude scale here. Let's remove the magnitude color legend, and let's also remove the magnitude size legend, leaving us with just our date filter. Now, if I hit the right arrow on our date filter to scroll through the dates, we can see that the charts down the bottom from our location chart triple worksheet are updating, but our map is not. And that is because this filter actually came from the location chart triple worksheet. Now, we will do something clever with this in a moment to tie it all together so it updates all of our objects at once. But first, let's add the other worksheets as per our plan. Again, over on the left, let's grab our top 10 largest earthquakes worksheet, and let's drag this to the top left of our dashboard. So above our orange charts, but to the left of our map. And when we drop that into place, we again get that date filter from that worksheet added over on the right. So let's click on that, and then the little X to remove it, as we only need one of these filters at the end. So we don't need to worry about this extra one. Cool, so let's now drag on our last major requirement. So again, let's go over to the left and let's grab our percentage earthquakes by location broad. And this time, let's drag that over to the right of our map. Again, above our 3 orange charts. Now, don't worry about the fact that this whole dashboard is looking a little bit squished. We will fix that all up soon. Let's just make sure that we remove the extra date filter again. So let's click on that and then X. I mean, in hindsight, we could have probably gotten away with not adding them to each worksheet individually, but I did want to make sure that they were all working as they should. Awesome, so we've actually got all the bones of our dashboard together now. We just need to link them up and then make it all pretty. Now, some of the upcoming tutorials, they will be dedicated to the final look and feel of our dashboard. But at the very least, let's make sure that our map isn't so squished in the middle there. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to grab the left-hand border of our map here, and then I'm going to move that across until I think it's around centered on the middle of our dashboard. Now, like I mentioned, we will tidy everything else up in the upcoming tutorials and we will get this looking incredible. But for now, the last thing I want to do is to make sure that our date filter is controlling all 4 of our objects simultaneously. So our map, our top 10 list, our earthquakes by location, and our triple charts down the bottom. So for this, let's go up to our date filter at the top right and let's click on it once. And then down the bottom of this little strip that pops up, so the same place where we hit the X to delete the other widgets earlier, let's click on this down arrow. And when we do, we see a whole lot of options. What we want to click on is near the top here where it says Apply to Worksheets. And from there, let's go into Selected Worksheets. And when we do, we get this box appear. And in this box, we see a list of all of the worksheets that are on our dashboard. So grayed out in the middle is our location chart triple worksheet. And this is grayed out because this filter came from that particular worksheet. So we can't add or remove it. But you'll also see our other worksheets listed. So we can either tick those boxes manually, or we could just hit select all on dashboard down the bottom here. And once those are all checked, let's hit OK. And we should now be able to control them with our single filter. So let's give it a go. If I go up to our filter and I click it once to the right, perfect. We saw all of our worksheets update at the same time. And this is exactly what we wanted, as it means our client can scroll through each date and spot trends and patterns. So as an example, if I go to the next one here, which is the 14th of July, over in our top 10 table, we can see that the biggest earthquake was in Vanuatu. And on our map, let's just have a bit of a check. This looks like it here. And yes, there it is, Vanuatu. The next biggest was in Ecuador, so over here in South America. And again, perfect. It is all syncing up nicely. Now, we could also sort one of the tables down the bottom for more insights on that date. So if we sort by earthquake frequency by heading down to the bottom left chart here and clicking the sort icon next to the axis name, we can see that on that date, so on the 14th of July, the location with the most recorded earthquakes was Alaska. And again, on our map, this kind of looks to confirm that. Now, what is really cool is that with our slider, we can go all the way back to the left to all, and this will show us the aggregated view of all 30 days data. So a huge amount for our client to analyze and play with. Very, very, very cool. Nice work on getting this built so far. All right, so let's leave it there for now. We've created everything that our client needs and it's all working as it should. Our job now is really just to make it look super pretty, and that is exactly what we will do in the final few videos. So please go and save your workbook to make sure you don't lose any of your hard work. So File, Save to Tableau Public, and then as always, I will see you in the next video.